Okay, day two. Hope you're still with me. Hope nobody's given up just yet. And today I've got another exercise, and we're going to turn our attention to the fretting hand. And this is an exercise that involves hammer-ons, pull-offs. It's really good for strength and accuracy with this hand. So the exercise goes like this. If I just play it through for you. So there we go. I shredded my way through that a little bit there. Apologies, you don't have to play it that fast, but let me explain what is going on with this exercise. So it's another scale sequence idea. Yesterday we were doing a sequence with the C major scale. This is based on the C minor scale, the C natural minor scale. So that scale goes like this. Again, it's a 3-note per string scale fingering. So we've got our C root note here, 8th fret on the low E string. Got 8, 10, and 11, that's the minor third, and then over onto the next string, that's the same fret numbers, and then D string is 8, 10, 12, 8, 10, 12 again. Then we're going up to the 9th fret on the second string, that's 9, 11, 13, and then 10, 11 and 13 on the top string. So get that under your fingers to begin with. These 3-note per string fingerings are useful. I do more often than not tend to use kind of the caged scale fingerings, just staying in position, but occasionally I do like to use these 3-note per string scale fingerings as well, so it's worth knowing them. So just the scale straight up and down with alternate picking would look like this. And the scale sequence bit of this exercise is actually very simple. It's just based on this pattern. Just a 6-note pattern that we're then taking across through the strings, the different pairs of strings. So we're beginning on this C note and we're playing 8, 10, 12, but we're just picking once and then hammering on. So pick, hammer, hammer. Then we're over onto the 5th string. Same thing. Pick, hammer and hammer. And like yesterday's exercise, this is a triplet rhythm, so 1 and 2 and so you might just like to practice those first 6 notes to begin with. Harder than you might imagine to get this sounding smooth and even. Something that happens a lot with both hammer-ons and pull-offs is you tend to snatch at them, so you would go kind of like that. You pick the first note and then the fingers just kind of slam down, and it's not really in time, it's not really in control. So slow it right down and make sure you're really in control of what your fingers are doing. It's 1 and 2 and with hammer-on, some people make the mistake of just hammering on too hard. It's not really about sort of hammering down super hard. I think if you've got good technique, if you're kind of coming down quite fast in the right place, you're not coming down super hard. You don't need to use any more effort than is necessary. That's quite a big thing with technique generally, is you don't need to try too hard and use too much kind of strength and muscle in your technique. Just kind of stay relaxed and do things right, and things are going to sound much more smooth, I think. So you just want to make sure that you're coming down firmly but not too hard. You're up by the fret wire, and then you should get a nice clear hammer on. So that's the first 6 notes. Then we're doing the same thing but starting on the 5th string, so actually repeating the 5th string and going over onto the next string. So from the start of the exercise we've got repeat the 5th string over onto the 4th string, and then we just continue. So the 4th string again, over onto the 3rd string, and then the next pair, and then the top pair, and then we're going to descend, and it's just the opposite of that. So we're going to be picking the first note, and coming down we're going to be pulling off. So the same thing goes with pull-offs, just nice and under control. You don't want to be kind of snatching at them like that, just nice and even. And then we repeat the 2nd string, descend. And this is mainly a fretting hand exercise, so that the picking here is not quite so important. You could play all of the picked notes with downstrokes of the pick, but just for a bit of an extra challenge, maybe you could go down on the first triplet and then up on the next triplet, and take that pattern through the scale sequence. So down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Once you've got that, get the metronome out. Make sure you can play it locked in with the metronome. It forces you to play in time, and you can hear if you're rushing or dragging, or if those triplets aren't even. So remember, with the metronome, I'm going to do this again at 100 beats per minute, I think. And you can have 3 notes per click. So that's kind of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So you're going to be picking on the click, and then you've got your hammered or pull notes in between the clicks. 1, 2, 3, 4. So harder than you might imagine to get that really locked in and smooth. It's certainly something I could probably work on myself. So give that a go. Of course, you don't have to go that fast. With technique, it's always better to start slow and then gradually build up speed. But if you are pretty confident with that basic exercise, then like with yesterday's exercise, there are ways of making it a bit more challenging. So you could try doing it with an 8th note or a 16th note rhythm, which will kind of go against the natural grain of the exercise a little bit in quite an interesting way. So rather than thinking da 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 da, you'd be thinking da 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 8 notes. So something like this: 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 2. So changes the feeling of the exercise quite dramatically. And you could try it with another scale type if you wanted to. I mentioned the melodic minor scale yesterday. This will work with any scale you like. So maybe one of the modes of the major scale, perhaps the Mixolydian mode. So 3 note per string Mixolydian mode would look like this. And then you just plug in that scale sequence to that fingering. So and so on through the entire sequence. So that's it for day 2. Have some fun with that exercise, and I'll see you again tomorrow.